on your Gianna Volpe report, brought to you in part by Village Overhead Door in Southold, by the Crazy Fork in Mattituck by author Céline Keating.
So excited to be talking to sponsor Céline Keating, author of Play For Me, which is one of the novels that rock, which she's going to be reading from tomorrow night at 6:30 at the Barnes & Noble in Union Square. Good morning, Celine. How are you?
Good morning, Gianna. I'm just fine. Sitting here with a cup of coffee and all ready.
Yeah. So looking.
How are you?
Very well. I want to thank you for, I'll be shooting the event tomorrow night at Barnes & Noble, and you advised me to leave earlier than I had planned, and, I got stuck in 5 hours of traffic coming from the George Washington Bridge yesterday, and after that, I realized how sound your advice is.
I hope it works.
Yes, no, it definitely will. But I can't wait. So, Cass Dillon and Kim Vogels, two people who we've had on the show more than once, phenomenal performers. I'm so excited that everything worked out and that they're going to be there. Are you nervous? Are you excited? How are you feeling?
I am excited. I can't wait to hear them play, and I'm thrilled that they're going to do some songs together as well. We have it set up that they'll perform first, and then the reading will happen, and a little Q&A, and then Cass himself will play at the end.
Oh, great!
Another gig to get to. But,
nice little bookends.
It'll be a really fun combination of readings about music, novels that are music-centric, and then real live musicians in a bookstore. I think it's such a fun idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me a little bit more about Play For Me itself.
Well, it's a novel that had a couple of different themes going into it that sort of came together in my mind. One of them had to do with some women I knew who had sort of come to turning points in their lives. One just sort of felt fulfilled in her life, even though there was no blame to be assigned, and she broke up her marriage. And another was a couple women who had very severe empty nest, including my sister. She was suddenly faced with, what do I do with the rest of my life? Mm-hmm. And I had those women in my mind as sort of, not character yet, but the other piece was the music piece. And what happened with me personally is that at a certain age, I forget exactly when, my husband gave me guitar lessons as a gift. And I was very busy at that time in my life and thought, what do I need something else to do? But I didn't want to be rude. I thought, what a sweet idea. And of course, what happened was I got totally hooked. And I went on to start, I was already a writer, writing fiction, but I went on to do music interviews and reviews because I just was so fascinated by musicians and their music, and just got crazed. And from that, I went on what was called a concert train. It was a train across Canada where all the people on the train were either part of a couple of different very obscure bands, or they were their hardcore fans. It was like an entire train of crazy, obsessed fans.
Wow.
And my personal berth was right next to the little room that was shared by the leader of two of the different bands. They were in a relationship, and they were in the midst of a major breakup during that trip. So I was like front row seat to their crazy romantic breakup.
Wow.
And so the two of them became sort of the genesis of a duo in my novel of singer Blaze and her guitarist JJ. So I had this, once that all happened, somehow the idea of a woman sort of in middle age leaving her life and going on tour with the musicians, I thought was kind of a funny idea, because you think of that as something very young people would do. Mm-hmm. But she actually leaves her marriage. She doesn't leave her marriage. She just takes off. And she's a videographer by profession, so the ruse that she uses to go on tour with them is that she's going to make a music video for them.
Oh, nice.
And then, of course, she gets deeper into the fascination with their lives and obsessed somewhat with the guitarist and makes some bad choices. But, eventually it's really an awakening and sort of a coming to terms with her own life, having lost touch with her deepest self through the years of motherhood and working, etc. So it sort of gets more complicated. It started out as a sort of funny idea in my head.
Right.
It became more complicated and sort of more dynamics going on.
Did
so,
you?
Anyhow, that's a very long-winded explanation of the book,
But fascinating. I mean, how long was this train trip? And did you end up talking to these people through the process of writing this novel?
When I was on the train, my idea was to actually write an article, a nonfiction article.
Okay.
And so I talked to everybody I could talk to. I was talking to the fans, I was talking to the musicians, and it was very intimate. I mean, we all ate together. They were jamming all day long, and then there would be, quote, concerts at night. You got to interact. People who were very braver than I was were trying to jam with the musicians. That was part of the whole thing. It was about a week.
Oh, wow.
It started in Vancouver and then came back, it went east. It was from west to east. Concerts at both ends. It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. But I wasn't thinking at that point. It was only afterward that I started doing it as a novel.
Oh.
And, there was something else I was going to mention about it. It was gorgeous scenery through the Rockies.
I can only imagine.
But, these people, I mean, I thought I knew the music of one of the bands, but the people that were on this train, I mean, they had gone to 30, 40 concerts. They would go to every gig their band would perform at. They'd follow them. I mean, they were hardcore. And I was just fascinated by that.
So it was one band?
What was that?
It was one band?
No, 3 different bands.
Okay.
And if I mentioned the names, you would never have heard of them, and still would never hear.
Yes, well, I'd still like to know who they were.
I'm trying to remember the names of one. One was Tom Russell. One was, what were they called? Oh, I'm blocking on it. I'll have to get you that info later, or maybe it'll pop up in my mind. I can't believe I've already forgotten.
That stuff happens.
And yeah,
especially when you have a full life and you're,
your mind.
It comes and goes.
The band, the 2 of the 3, actually, at least 2 of the 3, maybe all 3 don't exist anymore. Like they broke up.
Right. They broke up right in front of you.
Well, the female in the lead of one band and the male lead of another were the item.
Oh.
They broke up as a couple, and then the bands themselves later both broke up as well.
Oh. Wow. It's like a movie.
Yeah. Oh, and then there were. That's what I was going to mention. Thank you for saying that. They were being filmed.
Oh.
The train trip was being filmed.
Oh, well, good.
So I actually got to see, how you do a music video.
Yeah.
So that also came into play when I was coming up with the concept.
Right. Fascinating. I love it. So are you going to be in this video? I mean, did they end up doing anything with the footage?
They did. It was a video that you could buy through the, I guess, both of the band's websites, primarily Tom Russell's, and probably it's still for sale. Of course I got my copy.
Nice.
And somehow I was not, I don't think, in any shots that they end up using.
That's okay. You have a book.
But it was fine. I didn't want to be in it. I just wanted them to capture those great performances and the feel of being on the train. But it was really more of it turned out to be more of a documentary about Tom Russell and his music than the train itself. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It was more his own. I guess he probably paid to have it made.
Where can people get Play for Me if they're not going to come out tomorrow, which you should. If you want to come out, let me know, because Union Square, Barnes & Noble, tomorrow night at 6:30. I'll be there. Celine will be there. Cass will be there.
Thanks to you.
Kim.
That's a wonderful tip.
You're very
Play
welcome.
for Me is online through Amazon, and any bookstore can order it. It's been out for a little while, so it won't be like right there on the bookshelves probably in most independent bookstores. It's in Barnes & Noble, of course. It's on my website. You can link to it from my website. It's basically pretty much everywhere. It's just not something you're going to walk in and find right there. You probably have to ask them to order it.
CelineKeating.com?
Yeah.
Yes, excellent.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And so what is this your favorite of the novels that you've written? And what, if not, or if so, just tell us about your other books.
I go back and forth. I think whatever I'm working on is my favorite at the time. And
Right.
I'm currently working on a Montauk-based novel, but that's going to be a while yet. But I think probably I like my first, a little closer emotionally to my first novel, Layla, which fits this period of time in our history right now because it's about a young woman who becomes an activist over time, and it's about the conflict between her political values, and her parents, who were '60s activists. And she discovers it's sort of almost like a mystery novel where she discovers some major secrets of her parents' past and has to come to terms with them. And it kind of is almost like a little trip down memory lane of the counterculture because she's learning about her parents through a cross-country trip, visiting their friends around the country. And she learns, and there's also the FBI comes into it.
Ooh.
And yeah, so
it's a thriller.
It's a little bit of a mystery / yeah, but given today's politics, with so many young people sort of becoming involved,
right.
I feel like it's a little more current than it was.
Which is fascinating. It's interesting because I know that in the beginning, when information first became so not even readily available, but just like so much information all the time, it was overwhelming. And I feel like the older millennials, which is a funny thing to say,
right,
were a little more sort of burnt out by the information, and just kind of like and it seems that it's now going the opposite way, where people are starting to care again.
Yeah, it's so interesting because from my perspective, looking back, of course, being an older millennial,
right,
I think I remember how galvanizing the Vietnam War was for us, and how we would feel so obligated to go to every demonstration and every issue to take up. And at some point, people got very burnt out. And I keep telling people, pace yourself. Don't feel you have to do everything. It's like you do what you can, but don't give up everything in your life just to be active, because you won't be able to keep it up.
Right, and it's important. It's important getting involved or getting involved in general, and having an opinion is an important thing. That's something that I remember saying to someone who they felt defeated. They felt like, they had gotten involved and then they felt like kicked in the face, sort of. And they were like, you know what? I'm just not going to get involved at all, and I'm not going to try, basically. And I was saying, don't feel that way. It's still important to have an opinion and whatnot.
Absolutely. No matter what side of a particular issue, it's much more makes you feel much more alive to be involved, even to some extent, and not to. But it is hard if you put your heart and soul into it.
Right.
You're so depressed. So that's why I think it's important that you temper it with other activities and other. Exactly. You're wide.
And because they were saying something about voting, and I was like, don't let anyone's getting so emotionally upset with you or whatever discourage you from voting in the future. It's an important responsibility for everyone in America to vote and be a part of the process. Celine, I am so excited to see you tomorrow night at Barnes & Noble, Union Square. Please come out and see Céline Keating read from Play For Me, see Cass Dillon and Kim Vogels perform, and visit CelineKeating.com. Buy a copy of Play For Me. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning, and I'll see you tomorrow, Celine.
Every villain thinks they're a hero, especially on the East End of Long Island. Timothy Dune is one such man. He's a tortured soul, and you won't be able to put down Victor Giannini's new novel, Counselor, as you're reading about him and what could happen to the East End. Roger Rosenblatt of Time magazine called Counselor an important piece of work. Robert WRIV says Counselor is compelling and will linger in your mind. Don't bury your head in the newspaper or in the sand. Read Counselor, Victor Giannini's new novel, available in paperback or on Kindle from Amazon.com or Silverthought.com. Counselor, the story of what once was an idyllic place that's become home to McMansions and private estates, and its effect on one person. Counselor by Victor Giannini, available on Amazon.com.
An overhead door serves a purpose, and it should be as beautiful as the rest of your home or building. For more than 30 years, Village Overhead Doors has been creating and installing beautiful garage doors for contractors and homeowners on the North and South Forks. They also install automatic garage door openers that open with the click of a remote, so there's no getting out of the car in bad weather. For a wide range of styles, from lifetime steel doors to custom-made wood doors, and for all your garage door needs, please call 765-4963 today and find out how your garage door can be a beautiful focal point of your home or building's exterior. Village Overhead Doors of Southold, 765-4963. Make the call and let them add beauty and value to your home or business.